Hi, everyone. It's Paul Ward here, and welcome to another 15 Minutes. I'm excited today. We have a special guest, Tamara Rossie-Molina with Choice Home Warranty. Tamara, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I love it.
Yes, glad you could come. So, for those folks that don't know, what is a home warranty?
Well, basically, it's a type of insurance that will cover the working systems inside the main foundation of the house. So we're talking plumbing systems, which would be, leaks or breaks in walls and the floor, something coming down from the ceiling. We've got water heater coverage, toilet issues, faucets, things like that. We've got the heating system, air conditioning system, if you have air conditioning, electrical systems, whether it's the actual circuit board or outlets that are an issue, and appliances. So, your dishwasher, microwave, range, washer, dryer, kitchen, refrigerator. So all of the working systems basically inside that main foundation of the house.
Okay, and does somebody typically get a warranty when they purchase a property? Do they buy it? Does anybody buy a warranty? I mean, is it who purchases a home warranty?
Yeah. So initially, and what I do basically is when you've got a home in escrow, you're buying a home, you're moving in, you do the inspection, you're not sure, how old the appliances are and, the big ticket items like your water heater, your HVAC system, as long as those things are operational at the close of escrow, those are the things that we pick up. Usually in this type of a market, the seller is picking up the cost of this, which is nominal. We'll pick it up for the buyer. As a buyer, you're interested in having that coverage because if you're putting down your last cent for your down payment,
Right.
if your heating system or air conditioning system goes bad, I mean, retail prices, you're talking, $10 to $15,000. So
Right.
if you can save some money by having a warranty, if we can't repair it, we're obligated to replace it. It's a good thing to have. So we can offer it to anyone, whether you have a warranty now or not. We can offer it to anyone. The pricing is the same as what you would see in a real estate transaction. But yeah, everybody can have a home warranty, and it's definitely worthwhile. Like I said, I mean, if you are, your air conditioner is 20, 25, 30 years old, you're thinking in the next year or few years, I'm going to need to replace this. And if you can afford to spend $10 or $15,000, that's great. If not, you have a warranty that you may be paying, $800 for during the year. And, you can split it up in monthly payments if you're paying for this, not in escrow.
Right.
It's definitely a savings. And we've had people who have said, hey, thank you. You just saved us some money. So, and we're going to try and repair it first, but if we have to replace it, if we can't find the parts, then we will be replacing it.
Right. Are there any kind of is there any advice that you could give to folks? I mean, if they are in escrow, and something happens in escrow, would the seller file that claim? Would the buyer wait till they own the property? How does that work?
Great question. So we want things, if we're just going to be covering the buyer, then we want things working at the close of escrow. If the seller decides during that listing and escrow period to put seller's coverage on, which is pretty close to the same coverage the buyer's going to get, then we would be looking at that, during that listing period. If the inspector came up with something, we would be looking at that just like we would for a buyer. So yes, there is coverage for a seller, and it's nominal. It's, $1.50, $1.80 a day,
Right.
paid at the close of escrow. So it's a benefit for the seller also if something comes up.
hmm Now, times are tough for a lot of folks out there, and I know people are watching their pennies and kind of looking at their pocketbooks and seeing what to keep and what to get rid of. Any thoughts on why that home warranty would be something worth keeping?
I think the big ticket items, appliances, not so much, unless you have a Sub-Zero refrigerator, unless you have some really high end appliances, Viking, Sub-Zero. If you have something like that and you like those designer brands, then by all means, we're not going to replace the brand itself if we're replacing it, but we would definitely give you cash towards it. So it's all a money saving thing. But again, the water heater, you can get plumbers out there who are charging, $2,500, $3,000 for the replacement of a water heater. If
Right.
it's a tankless water heater, yes. So if those things are aging, Absolutely, it's a warranty is something you should be thinking about. And it's not just, calling your favorite plumber and having him come over and do it. If you
Right.
don't have your favorite plumber and you're at the mercy of finding somebody out there who is good, certainly ask around, because there are plumbers out there who will charge an arm and a leg. And
Hmm.
I've got plumbers, and we work with plumbers at choice who are decent and the rates are good. If you have a warranty, of course, you're going to be paying a whole lot less than what you would if you were just paying retail prices without a warranty.
Right.
So,
Now, are there some items that are not necessarily covered under the general plan that folks would have to add to their policy? I mean, sometimes you can assume that something, I don't know, maybe a septic tank might fail, and then you call the warranty company and nope, not covered. How do you work that out?
I think education, and talking to the rep or talking to somebody like me and saying, hey, what are the optional coverages? Because we're not going to cover everything under the basic plan
Hmm.
that some people don't have, because why should they be paying the extra money? So, things like septic tank, we'll cover a one-time pumping. We'll cover some assorted pumps under that, an outdoor kitchen. So if you have a legitimate outdoor kitchen with, a sink and a dishwasher and a ceiling fan, we'll pick up that.
Hmm.
We would pick up pool equipment for an extra, as an extra option, central vacuum system, water softener. We even have irrigation, which
Oh,
will
really?
pitch money towards irrigation.
Hmm.
So, yeah, there are options that you can pick up, but it's very clear if you're looking at a brochure what those optional coverages are. So,
Gotcha. And I mean, there's lots of companies to choose from. You've been in the industry for a long time.
yes.
You're my go-to person. Why choice home warranty?
Well, it's very interesting. I have been doing this a long time, and you kind of see the ups and downs of the industry. I see all the savings. I think with Choice, who is new to California, they have a little bit of a different dispatch system. So we are now nationwide. California was the last state to be added, but they do more of an Uber-like dispatch. So they contract with a lot more technicians. We have more to choose from. So they don't have us over a barrel.
Hmm.
If we don't like someone, if they're doing something consistently that's a problem, we can get rid of them, because instead of 4 or 5 plumbers, we'll have 25 to 30. So you can keep a better handle on your contractors. There's more of a competition. We text the claim out to these contractors. The first one to grab it will take the claim and actually schedule the appointment, send it to the homeowner via email. So
Hmm.
we're eliminating the back and forth. And then you have these guys who are willing to take the claim. You can appeal to more of a retail contractor, because if you're having a slow day and you're 2 blocks away from the house, why not take the claim?
Hmm.
So nationwide, the stat is well over 60% of our claims are solved same day, next day. If I
Okay.
can offload half my claims, in 2 days, that's wonderful.
Hmm.
So that's the plan: is you have more contractors. You don't really negotiate the rates up front. You're appealing to a wider set of contractors, and maybe guys, who are more in the retail business also, who do a really good job, and
Right.
they can pick up a job here and there for us because they're having a slow day. So I love that, and I really like what I'm seeing. Quicker service. We are doing some education because it is a new system for the state. I mean, we use more warranties in California than any other state.
Hmm.
We started the home warranty industry, California did. And so there's some education with the text going on also. But because of the experience and what I know, I mean, I have a handle on my contractors. I already know who these guys are who are doing a good job,
Right.
and we in turn will try and funnel, a lot of those claims to the guys who are doing a good job. And we keep the satisfaction rating. We know what these guys are doing. So I love that. And I love the fact that I have information in my system that I can look at firsthand. I don't have to ask anybody, call anybody. I can look in the system and see how these guys are doing. So
Mhm.
love that.
You can weed out the bad apples.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And really, in warranty work in the past, you were looking at guys who had a lot of trucks and they wanted to keep everybody busy. You were looking at the new startup guys who are fantastic a lot of times, but
Hmm.
then they would build their business and move on because they didn't like the negotiated rates. And then you were looking at the guys who want to be fed the business because they're getting ready to retire. I love the fact that we're opening it up to a wider section of contractors. So.
Hmm. Now, we are here in California. Is there anything on the policy that, I mean, maybe what what is the number one call that you get? Is it water heaters? Is it AC? What's kind of the number one call?
Actually, plumbing stoppages.
Mm,
Whether it's just a simple stoppage in a sink, or whether we're talking about, it's down the main line and you've got roots, that's a problem. And once you have roots, we're out of a claim. So just, watch, if you got big trees in the front yard, just kind
right.
of watch that. But yeah, that's the number one service claim. So, and don't ever flush wipes down the toilet, even if
Right.
it says they're flushable. Please don't.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. Just use the trash can. So
Right.
yeah.
Any add-ons that you recommend for folks?
Yes.
Part of the general plan?
Yes. We have something called a premium upgrade. Bunch of odds and ends it covers, like racks and rollers on a dishwasher. So under the basic plan, we're covering the motor, all the stuff in that dishwasher, but we're not covering the racks. And I didn't think that was such a big deal until I had to replace a rack. And that was expensive. It was, half the cost of a brand new dishwasher. So,
Right.
and that's probably changed by now. So
Any-
we'll cover racks and rollers on a dishwasher, hinges and springs and remotes, and the keypad on a garage door opener.
Mhm.
It's just, faucets are covered under that. Shower heads. We actually cover our slab leak coverage under the upgrade also.
Oh,
I
really?
always recommend that. And the biggest thing is if we have to replace a water heater or the HVAC system, we're covering $500 extra when it comes to the replacement. So we'll pick up the permit, the hauling away of the old unit, some code violation upgrade work, because we know if you're familiar with codes at all, and I, because codes change a lot, especially water heaters. We have the expansion tank now because they don't want to waste any water when the pressure relief valve goes, when the pressure on the water heater is too high, they want it routed to the outside of the main foundation. I mean, a bunch of stuff. So we'll cover up to $250 of new code violation upgrade type work. So that premium upgrade is huge. I never sell the basic plan only. The premium upgrade is $100 extra, well worth it. So thank you for asking that. Yes, that is an option we don't do without.
I would imagine, I mean, slab leak could just be devastating. So
it can be, yes. And I find most of the time with a slab leak, people have just put new flooring in, or they don't want to disrupt the flooring, and you replace a section of pipe. And if that pipe is old, well, the rush of the new water going through the new pipe hits the old piping that's still there, and pretty soon you're going to spring a leak in that old piping. So most people do a reroute. So we'll end up cashing out the homeowner for our $1,500. And that with a reroute, that'll help them do the reroute. So most people don't want to go through the flooring.
Yeah. Any success stories that you'd like to share that would be good educational for folks?
Oh boy. You know what? I would, yeah. I think the beauty of having a rep who is knowledgeable and who's been in the industry a long time, because there are issues, when you call the 800 number and, people may not be familiar with the California contract. I think having somebody to call, because we can get you through, the technicalities of the coverage, or if, we're internally are looking at the claim wrong. And we've done that several times because, we're new to California. I can jump in and say, listen, that's not the intent of the coverage the way that it's written. And this is what we need to do. So I think having somebody knowledgeable in your corner is huge, because home warranty inevitably, has some challenges, because we are dealing with contractors. We are dealing with some gray areas, because not everything is written in the contract. I mean, there are some gray areas. And if you have somebody stepping up saying, listen, this is what this is, and yes, this needs to be covered, it's a huge benefit. So yeah, and that's what I do all day long, and happy to help. So
that's very helpful. And then how can folks get a hold of you if they want to sign up for a warranty or maybe have a question about a claim?
You know what? They can call me directly. I've got, I think on my background, I've got my phone number and email address. Happy to communicate either way.
We've got a lot of people listening that might not be able to see. So what would that number be?
Very good. Okay. It's 805-660-2432 is my phone number. And then my email address is Molina, which is Molina at chwpro.com.
Great, thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
Well, Tamara Rossie-Molina, thank you so much. I've learned a lot. I hope our listeners and watchers have, and this has been very educational. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time. It's been really fun. Thank you.
Absolutely.